Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Snap Judgments. I am joined here by none of the regular co hosts. Everyone has abandoned me for holiday reasons, but have no fear, we will not be alone. We are going to be joined by two of my absolute favorite guests. We are joined first by the most important deck builder in the history of Marvel Snap. I believe that's what I have dubbed him. The Doom Wave King, the Thanos Professor X Whisperer. It's W. How you doing?
Great. How are you? Thank you for that intro.
Doing really well. W, how could our friends find you?
What am I? W_Marvel Snap on X or Twitter or whatever we are nowadays. And that's the main place to find me. And if you want to find anything else about me, you can find it there. But W_Marvel Snap.
W_Marvel Snap. There is a W streaming that exists, but it is dormant and it makes me sad.
Yeah. Follow it and who knows, one day maybe something will happen.
If I'm ever streaming and W starts streaming, I don't care if I have 2 people or 10,000 people, he's immediately getting rated as encouragement to further stream. So just be clear.
It's good to know.
We are also joined by the nicest man in Marvel Snap, the teddy bear of Marvel Snap, the kindest human being who is gracing us with his presence, even though we've been trying to book this for weeks and he's been like, this happened, that happened. His life has been utterly insane, but he still makes time for us always. It is the great FaThorNewman. How you doing, Newman?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Newman,
Booyah.
How can people find you?
I am on Twitch at FaThorNewman. I am on YouTube, which I posted a video this week, and that feels pretty good. That's also FaThorNewman. And then I have Blue Sky Threads and X, which I use sometimes to say things. I don't love social media in general, but I'm on them.
You have no choice. You're a fancy content creator. So if you're not on them, what are you going to do? So
I don't know.
All right. Well, I am also on social media. Don't follow me on Twitter because I hate it. But it is Snap Judge Cast. The important one is Snap Judgments Pod on YouTube, where I release an absolute ton of videos. I think I release the most Marvel Snap videos of anyone in the community. So if you're interested in Marvel Snap decks or Marvel Snap takes more than anyone, please do check it out. Cool. All right, let us get to our first topic. That's really all I cared about. Our first topic is talking about Doom 2099. And look, let's just say it's not a coincidence that W is on the week Doom 2099 came out. W, can you tell us, actually, first, for anyone who has been in a hole for the week, Doom 2099 is a 4/2. It's a Series 5 card. After each turn, add a Doombot 2099 to a random location if you played exactly one card. Each Doombot is a 4/2 with the ongoing. Your other Doombots and Doom have +1 power. This works both for the Doombots generated by this Doom 2099 and classic Dr. Doom and his Doombots. W, tell us about this card.
So I think when I eval'd this card for you at the beginning of the month, I was pretty underwhelmed personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a pretty consensus idea in the community that this was kind of a weaker release card. But I've been really pleasantly surprised by what this card does. The spread it has is noticeable, to say the least. I mean, and the fact that it can enable some like cards that we haven't really seen a lot of play in a while just makes it, at the very least, a very fun experience. I think that was my main concern with this card when I first saw it, was that it wasn't, the decks that were going to run it just weren't very good decks, which is when I evaluate cards, I kind of like think a lot of cards could be better if there was a world where their decks are better. But this is such a weirdly strong card that it kind of elevates those bad decks to maybe a playable place. And that just speaks to its power, which is very interesting to me, honestly.
Newman.
Oh boy. So this was the card that I was the most excited about for this season. As someone who has enjoyed Death Wave, and also enjoyed Sandman excessively for a long time. This just, I don't know if you can have nostalgia for a game that's 2 years old, but it just brought back the feeling of I don't need to be a sweaty player for a little bit. I can just play one card per turn and be happy with life. And I've enjoyed this a lot this week, even though I have not found a wonderful Sandman shell for it yet. I'm still cooking.
I think Crazy maybe dropped one. I hadn't played it yet, but I hadn't even really been thinking about Sandman with it too much. I think that's a fantastic.
I think
idea.
About Sandman with everything. Everything goes in Sandman. That's where my heart goes. It works really well with Doom. It just puts out some crazy power, and it's just fun. I've enjoyed this card, but it's exam week, and I haven't had a ton of time to to play Marvel Snap. So I'm looking forward to it this weekend.
Yeah, the first thing I thought with this list was Spectrum, and I think that's kind of bleeded into the community a bit. There's a Spectrum. I'm looking at Crazy's list right now. It's Sandman with like War Machine, ongoing stuff, and then the other thing I think that maybe Safety is pushing is the like Patriot build with it, which I haven't gotten to play yet. But I mean, these are all lists that like have always existed, obviously in their own ways, but like have been pretty dormant. And that's what I love about this card is we're getting to play some of this stuff again. Sandman's been shelved, Patriot's been mostly shelved, ongoing has been super shelved, and now like all this gets to be play tested with just one card, and I love stuff like that when it's released. I kudos to the team for a very innovative and different card, even if the weather settles and it's not the strongest deck. I love stuff like this for what you can do with deck building and exploring.
I think this is what mid-range is right now in the game, right? Like, you must be this tall to ride. If they go Sandman on turn 4 and then play whatever, Doom 2099 on turn 4, then play Sandman and Doom, if you immediately die to that, then I think you just can't play the deck right now. And I think that's really cool. I think that mid-range has, I don't want to say been stagnant, but it's just been like the same 2 or 3 shells and then jamming a new card in them. And now we've got all these new shells with Doom 2099. Tomorrow, yesterday's video, I'm doing 20 Doom 2099 decks because there's 25 distinct builds for this card. And like, I'm still missing some, right? Like, I'm only showing like one arishem build. There's at least 2 distinct arishem builds. There's a ton of different homes for this. Like, there's like 4 ongoing builds, but they're distinct builds. They run like 4 or 5 different cards. And I think that's really cool. Like, full disclosure, this isn't my style of card. I don't really enjoy playing it. I played it, I had a really high win rate, and I climbed to like rank 130, and then I was like, I'm not having fun with this, and I immediately went back to playing Bounce. So this isn't going to be for me. But I think that they could release a card that says play 1 card a turn and have it be both fun and healthy for the meta is genuinely impressive. I think this is a card almost everyone should be opening for. It's really rough because Ravonna and High Evo are in spotlights next week, and if you're a newer player, getting Ravonna and High Evo is huge, but so is getting Doom 2099. Like, this is just a really, really well-designed card. I hope they leave it alone.
Yeah, I think they should. I don't think it's by any means. It has decent counters, Agent counters it hard. I mean, I think they need to pat themselves on the back for just one of their better designs in a while and just let it be.
Yeah, look, honestly, they've sort of killed it a little bit last week too, right? Like, Penny Parker's really great design.
It's really cool.
Yep.
Like, Penny opened up all these cool things. Like, Agony was completely unplayed, and all of a sudden that started seeing play. Agony into Doom 2099 is just like 2 home runs in a row as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if they've had like 2 balanced cards that I've really enjoyed like this coming out in a row in a really, really long time. And again, props to the design team because like they are 1,000% different archetypes. They do different things. They're really cool in different ways, and they make Marvel Snap better and more interesting. And there's more things to do. Like, there's always a worry in a 12-card game that they're going to start to hit the limits of design space. And like when they release a card like this, like, oh man, they're not even close.
No, this inspires confidence. In that department of the team, the cards like this inspire a lot of confidence, for sure. There's something to be said, and for as much as the team can get some heat, we need to give them their flowers when stuff like this happens, because at the core of it all, this is a game, and they're nailing the game part.
I say this all the time, and people yell at me in the comments to videos. Like, I think Glenn does an unbelievable job. Glenn and his team do
I
an
agree.
unbelievable job. Like, they shift the meta constantly. They very rarely do something that breaks the game for any reasonable amount of time, right? Like, they're just really on top of their stuff. And then just having new cards that are like, I don't think Doom is necessarily better than a lot. Like, I don't think Penny is necessarily better than a lot of other options. They're just really fun also options. And I think that like they didn't have to out power creep the game to give all these things new life. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
Yeah, and going on what you said, just staring at the screen here, it's really hard to use keys this week with the surrounding players and Dakin and stuff. But I mean, if you've been hoarding tokens, pretty good week just to go and just use those tokens. You know, I don't know.
So this is not our subject, but like I'm convinced if you gave Dakin one more power, he'd be good. If he was a 3/5 base, I think he's a good card.
Yeah, I wonder what card is going to be coming out that enables him. I feel like that's also the missing thing. I know we have like things like Silver, like even if just Silver Samurai got like a boost or something. I don't know. It needs help.
The problem is largely that like I don't have to do any work in the decks that want Strong Guy for him to be a 3/9, but I have to do a ton of work to get Dakin to a 3/8.
Yeah.
So like you just give him the extra power and then he's a 3/10, and then if I'm doing my shenanigans, he's more. And now all of a sudden I think he might be worth it. I think he just literally needs one more power. He was designed in a less powerful game.
He works with Agony, right? Like there's just things that can like make him better for sure. And I don't know if those things have come out yet. I don't know if he just it's a weird this is super off topic. But
fair enough.
But like that's the beauty of this game is just a little something moves that way and weird things become so playable, like Agony and Penny Parker, like you were saying. So.
Or Spectrum. I really didn't expect Spectrum.
That was really nice to see.
A lot of points that can come out of Spectrum on 6 now.
Oh, yeah.
It is. And, you know, it's always been close. It's always like when I evaluate Spectrum in a deck, and I do it way too much because I love that card, I really just have to figure out what's the average output on that turn 6 and how worth it is. And this has pushed it to, you know, a nice, healthy spot. And that's the little things of just a little release can do.
Well, from the thing they're best at to the thing they are worst at. It is the update to card acquisition that they announced today. This is a temporary Band-Aid. They say, I think this is a Band-Aid like 6 times in the article so that we get the idea. And then I still heard people be like, this is just a Band-Aid. They don't know what they're doing. It's like, but it says
you don't know how to read.
Every other sentence that it's a Band-Aid. All right, so I'm going to read through their problems and the 2 Band-Aid solutions quickly. So the things they think are problems is the overall lack of agency in acquiring new cards, new users struggling to get to the meta faster, as it takes too long to earn Series 3, which I think is 2 problems, but they combine to 1. Returning players struggling to catch up after missing a season or more of new cards and rewards. The randomness of Spotlight Cash system feeling frustrated. And like, can we just like triple underline that last one? Dakin and what is the card that what's the other card?
I can't even think of it. Oh, it's Meek. It's Meek. Yeah.
Let's triple underline that. Ridiculous. The 2 early fixes are doubling the drop rate of Series 3 cards and collector's reserves from 2 out of every 9 to 4 out of every 9. Which means like that's almost 50%, right? Like that's a lot. And then we're doubling the amount of tokens you get from that feels bad spot from 1,000 to 2,000. Those are again, and like the direct quote, again, this change is a Band-Aid, but fairly straightforward, so we can release it quickly. So this will be happening the next patch, and they're still promising a big series drop in the first quarter. The next patch is scheduled, for anyone who doesn't know, for January 14th. Newman, what you think?
I just feel like this is a Band-Aid fix, and they're not really doing. Sorry, I really, I think it's fantastic. I immediately messaged some people in my Discord that I knew were a lower collection level, and I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be so good for you." I know that they're like, I think almost done with Series 2 or on into Series 3. And I was like, "Just save your stuff. Like, this is gonna be so helpful." That piece gives people such a helpful way to catch up, like actually have a way of catching up, which feels really good. And the tokens, I mean, it's more stuff, right? Like the Series 3 stuff doesn't impact me at this point. I'm collection complete. More tokens, yes, please. I'll take them. They could, retroactively do that too, and I'd be pretty stoked. But I don't think we'll quite get that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's awesome.
W.
Yeah. I think so much when we have these conversations, so much of it comes just down to like how we all feel. When like it's just so much feel, and there's so much things like with Pokemon Pocket and like other things kind of putting pressure. I just, can we not make this immediate? We really have to wait 2 weeks. It's just one of those things where I think if they announce, okay, today here's a quick change, because I don't know how hard it is. It might be really difficult, but like, there's no way we can't just like immediately do the Band-Aid. Why does it have to be like a surgical output to do the Band-Aid and wait 2.5 weeks for it? I just think that's just 2 more weeks for people to fester and like come up with issues with this. And I'm not saying that's me. I just think that's just how it works. And I think this team so often just kind of drops the ball on just feelings. I think some of the language they use can sometimes just make things worse. And I think it could be simpler. And I know that's the one thing I'll say is there's no reason I feel like we need to wait till 2025 for all this to happen. I think prettier words and just some kind of actual Band-Aid immediately would make people happy. But I think this gives it plenty of time, like I said, for people to poke holes and find something else to be mad about, which they'll always do. But.
They wanted to do it sooner. They wanted to do it closer to the date, and I think Griffin made them tell us sooner because he wanted like people to know for the holidays. But also, like, that's important if you're opening spotlights, right? Like, as you're determining to open spotlights, if you know you're going to get 1,000 tokens this week versus 2,000 in 2 weeks, maybe you like hold off on some cards, which I'm sure isn't what they want, but like, I probably would.
I just don't know why this couldn't have happened in the last patch. If this is a patch problem, we just had a patch like last week, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are we waiting on? We know these are not issues that are new.
What we're waiting for is people will have money to spend and buy themselves little gifts over the holidays, and they won't progress as much when they do so.
Yeah, and
I'm pretty
that's
sure.
The kind of stuff.
There's a part of Second Dinner, and I genuinely don't believe it's Glenn. And I'm actually, from like having spoken to him, like 90% sure it's not Griffin either. That's fucking crazy greedy.
Yeah, and
right?
we can
like,
tell.
But
and that's
like,
the bad part.
Yeah, that is the bad part. I
like,
think
make it less obvious.
Right? Like they're so bad at hiding how greedy they are.
I think though, like my first thought with it was like bug stuff. Like I assume the best in everybody. That's why I'm the nicest guy on Twitch, right? I look for the best. And so my first thought was, man, they've had some real weird bugs pop up. So if they change this from every 9 to every 4, yes, something crazy could go wrong with those numbers and changes. And maybe we'll just all get all the free cards for the future. I don't know. Like, I feel like some weird bug could also pop up, but I don't know. It could be money as well. They do like it.
Like, there's no way, like, maybe the changing the rates on the spotlights would be a problem, but changing the 1 to a 2 on spotlight caches does not seem like it could break it.
That seems like
absolutely.
20
I totally
minutes
agree.
Yeah.
And a high five and like move on.
We did it. Everyone's happy.
There's no reason that has to wait 2
my
weeks.
thing was more for the collector's reserves as opposed to the 2,000 tokens.
Oh, no.
Because I could probably figure that one out.
The collector's reserve seems like it actually might be hard. I understand that.
Right.
That's what I mainly meant was the tokens thing. I look at that and I'm like, why are we waiting? Come on. Like,
fair.
That goes such a long way to be like, we're doing this now. Like, we hear you. Let's, like, you can do the little things quickly and then you don't have us fester. And I'm also collection complete. I'm a giant whale, so I'm always trying to put myself in the shoes too. It's not like easy, but that's the kind of stuff I see, and I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Like, just like the negativity, especially again with Pocket pushing, and they just have this great new release, and like, it's totally different because you can just get all the cards immediately. You're still whaling when you do that, but there's I think people are getting that feeling again of like, oh, this is, people like opening packs and stuff. And then this process, even with these new changes, will still be so slow if you're in just in the fact that we're having to wait 2 weeks, and then it just makes it slow again. And it's just the feelings. I want this game to have longevity. I think it's a beautiful game, and there is no longevity without new players. It can't just be me and you two playing on the ladder.
It can be. We could just play each other forever.
Yeah,
I play
forever.
you all the time.
I mean, that's the thing. I definitely feel in the uppers of the ladder the shrinkage of players. I've noticed it. It's become obvious that less and less players are playing. You don't see the same names you used to, and those are all players are important. But when you're losing top players, I think that's a very huge symptom of an issue.
Top players also mean spenders, right? Like most top players tend to spend, and that's not who you want to cycle out. With the caveat that at this point in the season, I now know how to tell how many people are infinite each season. The untapped number, I can't say exactly what their methodology is because I don't have permission for that yet. I need to get permission. But if you double their top 50%, you have a reasonable number. Like the way they do it, the proxy is real. So right now, there are 40,000 people at infinite because there's 20,000 people at top 50% infinite, right? That's about where we usually are in the middle of a season. We generally have like between 90 and 100,000 people hitting infinite in a season. Sometimes like 120 for longer seasons, yada, yada, yada. But like we seem to be doing about the same amount of infinite as usual, or we're on about the same pace for as usual. I'm curious to track that. I think that's a reasonable proxy for the engaged player base. I know that not everyone who is engaged hits infinite, but I feel like it's I don't think most of the people who are still grinding to infinite are quitting. Right? Like I think it's the people who are sort of like regularly hitting it and getting frustrated because now there's not much to do except watch a number go up.
When I do wonder too, with less players, how much easier it is to hit infinite. So you're just getting more. You're just, even though maybe less people are playing, I always wonder if that ends up evening out because you see so much more bots if you're seeing less overall players. So you're making infinite and then more infinite.
So I have a reasonable part of my community that doesn't hit infinite unless like they don't hit infinite regularly, and I coach them to infinite when like we have time and stuff. And it seems like the people that have struggled to hit infinite are still struggling to hit infinite. It does not seem like that's changed. Or like obviously that's purely anecdotal and small sample size, right?
Fair.
But like these people are not terrible at all by any means. There are people that like get to 97 and then do the, oh no, I'm in my head, I'm 83.
Yeah.
Right? So like I feel like if they were still just seeing bots to that level, they would just have hit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no super way to know that for sure, unfortunately. I don't think Second Ender would be super happy that I figured out how to tell how many people are hitting infinite, but what are you going to do? I know it now and can't take it away.
Keep track of that. That's good info.
Yeah, I'm going to start writing it down at the end of every season. I didn't realize this. It was a conversation I had with Scott Denham last week, and then I went and like dug into it because I realized like if I just ask the right people, I'll get the right information, and that was nice. Other thing notable, someone said, and just your messaging idea brought this to mind. Someone was like, you know what the third spotlight should be? It should be that they advertise it as 1,000 or 2,000 tokens, and once in a while, as a bonus, you get a card. Like, how different would that feel? Like, hey, that third one is 2,000 tokens, but once in a while, you've got X% to hit a card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People would be so much happier when they hit those cards. You just don't show the duplicate, right? You get your stupid thing. Like, their messaging is just bad.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yep.
What if like, and I don't want to keep going back to Pocket, but you have the wonder pick in Pocket.
Mm-hmm.
What if you got like so just because it won't be too broken, you got a choice of 5 cards, just a random 5 cards, and you got to pick from them as an option. That gives you so much more agency to like be able to pick a card. Actually, maybe I was thinking for a second, you can just pick any card you don't have. That they would never do that. They're too greedy. We know that. But like, you lower the pool, throw 5 cards at a player's face, and say you get to pick any of these 5 cards. We just give you the option. That feels
isn't that what spotlight keys are?
Yeah, but like easier.
They feel worse.
Yeah, give me something easier.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully again, they have seemingly, again, we don't work there. This is all like things we've seen and like trying to pay attention. They seemingly have everyone on Earth on card acquisition right now, right? Like Glenn would just be like, card acquisition is not my thing. I don't fucking know, for months. And now he's like, oh yeah, we're all working on card acquisition now. Like it seems like they're all hands on deck for this. And like, which means that the people who aren't the super greedy people will finally be involved. And I do have like genuine, real hope about this for the first time ever. I was just like, yeah, maybe they'll fix it. Maybe the game will die. I do actually think they're going to fix it. And I really, like, at the end of the day, especially for Series 3 people, I think that like this fundamentally solves Series 3.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
I agree. And you're right. The messaging of everyone's on deck feels good, at least. But it's just, we all have trust issues at this point, I think.
I think they know, too, that it's a huge deal if they get this wrong. I don't know if I could say again, but if they don't get this right, like, this is going to die out really fast. And it, like, I'll still make videos on it. I'll still have fun. But if it still feels like I can't get the cards I want for another year and a half because I don't have tons of money to spend on the game, that's what's going to kill the game, because we keep getting more cards.
It boggles my mind that this is still, unless you feel like if you have patience, if you're not worried about time, that like I pumped like $300 into Pocket, and I don't even like Pocket, to get all of that first set at a reasonable time, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's what I spent exactly too, and
like,
it worked.
Yeah, but like for Snap, I could spend $30 and spend, or like I guess $100 over a year and get every card, or get like all but like 5 cards, and like that's a better deal. It's just the time issue that pisses people off. Yeah. Like it's worth remembering that like. And people love to yell at me about this. People who don't have impulse control yell at me about this, I'm convinced. They're like, you can't do that. I'm like, I know people. Like, I'm not like making this up. I have members of my community who started spending $10 a month when they started playing and just optimized the system, and they're fine. They're missing like, the ones who are really good and lucky are missing like 5 to 7 cards. The ones who are unlucky are missing like 10 to 14 cards. And they're missing like 1 or 2 cards they would like. And outside of that, they're basically collection complete. Like, and they're up on, they get every week's new cards because like eventually you start to build up resources from those couple weeks you did skip, your Makari weeks. And you're fine. But like, it's the cheapest thing in the world to keep up. But like, you just have to be stupidly patient, and everyone isn't. Yep. And so like every week I have people in my comments going, I opened 3 keys. I hate this system. It's like, don't do that, please. I don't like, I open every video with like, please stop doing that. Like, if you don't have 4, this is not for you. I know that sucks. That's how they're trying to get you to spend money. If you like open 3 keys, get frustrated, don't get the card. Like, unless you give them money, like, you now don't have resources and you're more likely to spend next time. Like, you're losing. Stop it.
Again, though, it just comes down to the feeling. You can spend less than Pocket. You can spend 3x less basically over a year. But that's just the having to optimize, the having to wait. Like, there's just got to be a way to simple it down where you're still making the same amount of money if you're second dinner and everyone doesn't hate it.
Second
that's
dinner.
What Pokemon has. You're spending more, but it's flashy and easy, and no one cares. It just works.
It's so flashy. Oh my goodness.
There's no time to wait. It's just happens, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah. Like, and opening packs is an endorphin rush, and Snap has lost the endorphin rush.
It has.
Dopium.
I love it. Let's dopium. It's a new name of this episode.
Dopium. Yeah, buddy. Dopamine. Goodness gracious.
I feel like I haven't had that since the beginning. I feel like when they had that big release with like She-Hulk and who are the other cards? Yeah. Scroll. All that was the last time I feel like I had a dopamine rush, when I was opening caches and like hoping for those. That was the happiest time in this game.
It was. It really was.
I remembered when I pulled Thanos, like, just out of a regular cache, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so cool. That was before they nerfed him and made it so that his stones didn't cost 0. But I got a week of it and I was having fun.
Yeah.
Dang it.
They need to figure out a way. And I have faith that they will. They know what works, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll get there. All right, let's get to the main topic of this week. We're going to talk about the February cards, which were recently data mined, which we haven't talked about. This is the Captain America Brave New World season. And I'm going to say right at the start, I think that this is like continuing the utterly stupidly cool card design that they've had. So let's kick it off by talking about the season pass card. I'm going to read Sam Wilson, Captain America. He's a 2/3. Game start, add Cap Shield to a random location. Game start is apparently a new keyword. Ongoing, you can move Cap Shield. So if you play that 2/3 Captain America, you can move the shield. The shield is a 1/1. This can't be destroyed. Give your Cap +2 power when this moves to Cap's location. I would assume, and this is a guess, that this is, but like, this is going to work with Steve Rogers too.
It has to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. W, what do you think?
I think this is great for so many reasons. Again, I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding it right, kind of. But like a 1/1 that can move just pops out at the beginning of the game, and basically you can start moving it every turn.
You can't move it until you play Sam.
Okay, okay. Still, I think that's just super solid. I think there's very little downside. I think more and more as time has gone on, when you have cards like Penny Parker release, we realize these like lower cost move cards that can kind of like give you really good location work, like initiative and just thought. I think that stuff's really solid, and I think there's a lot you can do here with this. That's just a good card. I don't know what deck this goes into. I guess maybe an ongoing deck.
Spectrum seems likely, right?
Yeah, I guess. But like even that, like it's kind of, that's the only thing, is it's kind of a weird card to throw in a deck outside of just ongoing stuff. But I like it. I think it's strong. I don't see how it's not strong. That's just a card in a vacuum.
Newman?
Yeah, I didn't notice the at game start part. I read over all this stuff and I had no idea. So I think that's a really intriguing idea that it just starts on the board. It seems like it's going to be pretty good though. If it doesn't work with Steve Rogers, I don't know.
It will.
It has to, right? Like
I would bet anything.
Everyone said that he needs to be better.
Yeah. Well, and everyone's like if they did it with the Doombots, we know they're willing to do it, right?
Right. Yeah. I think in general, like this, it's not going to go crazy, but it's going to add a fair amount of power. I think, and maybe there's already an answer. Does this work like you move it to one Captain America's location, it gets +2, and then you move it to another one and it adds +2 again? Or does it go away when you move it away?
No, it should keep growing.
Okay.
That's what I was assuming.
It grows the caps. It doesn't grow. It stays a 1/1.
Right, sorry. But like that power will stay on the Captain Americas. Right. And I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool.
So it's a 0/1. It says it's a 1/1, but it's a 0/1, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you play Sam. Like if you ever play Sam, you just played a 2/4. And 2/4 is good stats. You don't really want to take up 2 spots, right? But then you can auto move it immediately, right? Like the next turn. So like assuming you don't play Sam on the last turn, you can auto move it. And now you've played a 2/6, right?
Yeah.
That seems like it's
a
decent.
lot of upside, yeah.
Yeah, like
stats
like
alone.
if you can do that twice, you just played a 2/8. And if you got the other Captain America, yada yada yada. You want this to end in this spot for the other Captain America, so it gets the +2 power.
I just love being able to move that little 1/1 around and do what I can with that to, block out some like clog locations, to kind of like give myself a little leeway at certain places. I think that's just super strong. I think on stats alone, my only issue is really just where decks it goes into. But if ongoing or like Zoo are good, this works.
I'm curious if there's just a 4-card package of, I guess it would be a 5-card package because you want Spectrum as your top end, of Doom, this Cap, and then Spectrum. And then you just do whatever else you want with the rest of the deck, right?
Yeah, you got a pretty filled board. You start even considering like Captain Marvel or Blue Marvel in that world.
Yeah.
There's It's interesting. I just think, on raw stats alone and upside, it's a strong card in a vacuum. And that's all. That always finds a way, usually.
It's also really cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Great design.
Like, I'm just thinking of it as like a weird little Jeff now, though. Like that you can move around multiple times throughout a game. That's
history has shown how
I like
great
that a lot.
Stuff like that is.
Yeah.
With Nocturne Jeff, Penny Parker.
Your worst case is you paid 0 and you just have a 1 on the board. You got a free Wasp.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to draw it, right? Like Wasp is just
in the right decks, that's great.
Right? Like fine. Okay, thanks. Like you throw like I could see this just going in a zoo deck because, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
All right. Also, spend your $10. Buy Sam Wilson. And then we just go immediately to just crazy sauce cards. The card that comes out with Sam Wilson is the new Falcon. It's Joaquin Torres. It is 3/3 ongoing. The on reveals of your 1-cost cards here happen twice. Newman, want to lead us off?
Yeah. You could play Iceman with it. Like I was trying to think of decks that I was excited about, like playing this card in versus like, I know Wong is a bad example, but other cards that do similar things. I was like, I just don't know that I would ever play this card. And I said this up front, I am not a good deck builder, period. So listening to you guys talk about building decks and making things, I'm like, ooh, I'll just take it all in. This is good for me. But like looking at this card, I'm like, good 1-drops. I like Kitty Pryde. It's not a non-reveal. Like, I just don't feel like there's a ton of stuff that I would do with this currently. It's definitely going to have its place. I think bounce stuff, making like Silver Sable hit twice, a lot of those things, I think that could be cool, but it's not. It's my brain doesn't work well with this particular card, I don't think. So smarter people can share now.
W.
Well, when I first saw this, my immediate like brain response was, "Ooh, busted." But then
dang it!
No, but then I looked over our 1-cost on reveals, and we don't have anything that really abuses this yet. I feel like this is a card that will age super well. I don't know if it's right. I think it's a little maybe in our current state on release, it'll actually just be kind of clunky and hard to play. But I think this is one of those cards you earmark and like it will become busted at some point. 100%. It just enables a lot. That said, how much enables currently, I'm not very certain on. I don't know about it currently.
I feel like I had a good read on this card then. I feel okay.
Yeah, I think you did.
I feel a little vindicated. I'm happy. I'm growing.
It's the bounce cards, but the one that makes it broken is the one that comes out in 2 weeks, not this one. So we'll come back to this when we get to that 2-week card. But first, I just want to say, like, if I get 2 demons immediately, I'm pretty fucking happy.
Yeah, you do have.
Yep.
It is late though. That's a turn 4 play.
Yeah.
And unless we're like, no, I'm trying to think of a way to cheat it and make it better, but
not really.
No. It is a turn 4 play, and that's not a bad turn 4 play. That's a good one.
You spend your turn 4, you go Hood there and like Rocket there, or like even a Rocket just on the last turn.
You go all in on it there, and then Falcon.
Yeah.
5.
And if you bounce that,
like really, I guess you're beasting this, you don't care.
Yeah. Like who cares?
Okay.
It doesn't. It's a 3/3. It doesn't need to stay on the board. I think it generates bishop like power, except you can play it later than you can generally play bishop.
I think I was being a little too worried about the beast part. I think you were right. I think we just don't care.
And maybe it's not a turn 3 play necessarily. You can just play it out on 4 and be fine as well. If you just play it with Hood too.
Let's say I have Black Swan out, right? And I play this on 5, and then I drop a Hood on it alone, and I trigger Swan. Right, and I've got my other 1-drops in hand. I've now got like that Hood that's stuck there, right? But I've got a double Rocket that can come down there, a double Sable that can come down there.
Yeah, it becomes a terrifying little piece on turn 6. It definitely, it feels like it's a busted card. I'm still not convinced what we have will make it busted, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. It might just be awesome.
Well, let's come back to this in 2 weeks, shall we?
Okay.
All right. 1 week is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, who's just a 2/2. When your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy, draw a card with 10 or more power. We know what this goes in.
Yeah.
Yay, 10s. Haha, did it. I knew that one.
So they've always said that they're very careful about draw.
Mhm.
So I'm not surprised to see this, be like a 2/2. It's not very strong. It's definitely not the easiest conditions considering it's opponent dependent. But I mean, I can see this working. It's hard to see in practice because I'm trying to figure out what deck I really want to play this with. I guess just I know.
And arishem.
Yeah, Irishem's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But again, then you're asking for a lot. You're asking to somehow get this card on turn 2, which is super unlikely, and you're asking your opponent to not play all their mana. So I mean, it's just super dependent on stuff, which I always don't like in some card designs. But I can see it working. It's just not a very exciting card to me.
Luna Snow. Turn after this.
Yeah, see, we're doing so much. We're doing so much at that point.
But that's it's not terrible because that's going to ramp you into a 5/10, right?
Yeah.
That'll ramp you into an arrow or whatever else, which is reasonable. It's not the best thing to do. I don't know. I think this just goes in the stupid Scar deck. I think you just find a spot for it in a Scar deck and you shrug, and you're just like, cool. I drew the Scar more often, and now I do the thing.
There'll be games where it's like, oh, this was so great, and I feel like that'll be like 10% of the time, maybe 20% of the time, and 80% of the time be like, this is a stupid 2/2. Why is this in here? But it might be worth it.
It could force your opponent to make plays that they don't want to just to avoid it, but I don't think that's going to happen. You'd want to play cards on turns 3, 4, 5, 6 most of the time.
Really good against decks I like. It's really good against bounce. It's really good against bounce move shit where I'm just sitting on all this extra energy. It's really good against decks I like. So maybe I'm just over indexing on that.
I think it will help a lot. It's card draw. It'll thin decks. It's fantastic.
Card draw is great.
Lost Cause suggests Dracula dump.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
want that Infinite.
Okay, so just the Infinite version?
You run Infinite and you run Infinite and Red Hulk, and those are the two cards you run as the top end.
Sometimes you actually don't want that stuff in Dracula Dump, though. You kind of want just one of them sometimes. It becomes kind of clunky.
Well, if you get both, you're just like, all right, well, I guess.
You're fine with it.
Now they're missing multiple turns of spending energy, and you're super hyper efficient card, and you're more likely to draw your Black Swan, and Black Swan is the card you really want.
That is the key card.
And Dracula, obviously. Well, there's value. I
did play this on 2.
I'm never gonna play this fucking card, right?
Yeah, this card. I did play this card on 2. Is the problem? Every time I play this card, on 2, I'd feel horrible.
This will be a weekend missions, card, but not a card that I otherwise give a shit about.
Well, is it a competitive card? I don't know that it actually is. It's a card that lets you play your big cards. I don't know.
It's a deck thinning card, which is at the end of the day great. But there's something. It's just I don't know.
Sometimes the Scar deck is incredible, and sometimes the Scar deck is useless. When the Scar deck is incredible, this will be very good. And when the Scar deck is not very good, this will be very just there.
Absolutely.
Also, we need more men with mustaches and Marvel Snap, so at least there's that.
Yeah, I'm ready for the cool variants on this one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a good mustache.
Oh right. This is the card that breaks Joaquin Falcon. This is Redwing 1/2. On reveal, return one of your other 1-cost cards here to your hand to give it +2 power.
Okay.
So you go whatever, right? Whatever 1-drops, and then you play you go 1-drop Redwing on Torres, Falcon, and then you get those 2 1-drops back with +2 power each, and that seems like it's insane to me. That's
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This enables a lot.
Yep.
And it's another cheap bounce tool. I feel like bounce has been blessed over the last little while with really good cards.
Yeah, I don't know if we need this.
No.
Don't say that. They'll take it away. It's fun.
I mean, y'all remember Human Torch, right? No one's like, what's that card?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Kind of scary.
This is going to be so good. I'm gonna run this whether Falcon is good or not. This goes in every bounce deck forever and ever and ever.
This is
right?
the better card.
Yes.
They're just kind of psycho together for sure. This is just a great card because of the deck it goes into.
I'm curious if it just goes into a package with Hood in a lot of decks. Like you run this Hood Viper and call it a day.
You might.
Sure.
Like if your Hood is giving you -1 cost, even if you get stuck with it, who cares? Right? Like I'll play that to get 2 demons worth of power.
Yep.
I agree.
This card is so good.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know.
Also,
as a bounce enthusiast, are you happy?
Yes. Also, it's a red Falcon wearing goggles.
Yeah, again, another one with great variants to come.
Yeah. Like, I am so all about this card. This plus, like, both Falcons is incredible. I love that they're just like, you know what? We're going to make a fucking Falcon. It's going to be a card, and you're going to want to play it because it works with both of the Falcons. All the Falcons. This is, by the way, the one that's not named Falcon. Have fun.
Yeah, that is interesting.
No, it's good design. They know what they're doing.
I mean, just hitting a Silver Sable, right? Now you've got a 1/6 Silver Sable the second time you play it.
Right.
Rocket obviously is through the roof power potentially, right? But like just the 1/6 Sable alone is so much power. I got Nico back on. Oh my god, they just played a Limbo I didn't expect. What do I do?
I mean, one of my favorite 1-drops, and I've actually been running it lately in something. I'm just like with Electra.
Yeah.
Straight up, you're making Electra a 1/4, and you're just building your own Killmonger at this point. Like it's pretty. You can do some
Killmonger.
things. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, This just does things.
I love this card so much.
Yeah.
This is my favorite card of the month.
Yeah, I think
that's a good shout too. That does make whatever that other card's name is make a lot more sense, and like it could actually do something. Oh, the other Falcon. Sorry. Yeah.
Pound for pound, this is probably the best card. Unless I don't know what's coming next. I forgot already. But
weird chaos.
What's coming next is please run Luke Cage, the card. Diamondback is a 3/3 ongoing. Enemy cards here afflicted with negative power have an additional -2 power. It is here, but it is only enemy cards.
Oh,
I'm already annoyed by this.
This is stupid strong.
Yeah, this is strong.
Yeah.
There's no world this isn't strong. This in the decks this goes into, like at minimum you're getting like at most games this is a 3/7. Most like 90% of games it's a 3/7. 50% of the games it's like a 3/11. Like it's so good. Just on first look, this is crazy.
Just start packing your Lukes now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. After the first week when Luke Cage is gone, this will be a fun card to play with. Before then, whatever.
Yeah.
It does. It looks cool.
Someone asked me a couple weeks ago, they're like, should Luke Cage only affect one lane? I was like, that would immediately break Marvel Snap. Yeah. Like, there would be zero time before that would break Marvel Snap if Luke Cage
only affected that already, right?
Yeah, and like, it didn't matter. But then they were just also like, let's pump all these cards and see what happens. And like, what happens is that Ajax and Man-Thing and Hazmat and like all these cards are really, really strong. And then if you give let's say I play this and I don't see my Luke, and like I'm playing this in a Man-Thing lane. Their cards now have -4 and mine only have -2. Great value. Great value.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sad at any of this. I think this card is like I don't think this is going to be as good as Redwing, but I think it's great.
No, it's just a strong card. It's
a win
3/7 to a 3/11 most games. It's just good.
Like if you don't get Ajax, it's another way of kind of dealing with that problem. Or it also, you could just hit hit the whole board with Hazmat and choose wisely like where you want to put it, right? Like it works in a variety of different ways too. It doesn't have to be underneath of Agent or Man-Thing. So
it just has so much presence. When you drop this on 3, it's just like US Agent. When you drop this on 3 or you drop US Agent on 2, you have to stare at that lane the rest of the game and put so much thought in how you're supposed to win it. And those kind of cards have major impact.
I've learned one of the most important things in Marvel Snap. It's a recent realization for me, and it happened when I realized I had like a 70% win rate with like a net even cube rate with bounce move. It's that like cognitive load in Marvel Snap is such a like real thing that can really affect like how good and bad cards are. Like when I'm playing against a Scream deck, I feel like I should win far more than I do, but the like having to constantly reshuffle where my cards are on the board to figure out where I want to play the next card like breaks a part of my brain that's making the right decisions. Like the constant readjustment, like all those plans I made for the next 4 turns are now like gone. This kind of card does that. Bounce move does that. Bounce does that. And like I think all of those different decks and all those different styles, I mean, the require you to be good at Marvel Snap to optimize, but B, they put a lot of pressure on opponents. So like if you're not especially high ranked, like especially, I think it just overwhelms the shit out of weaker players in ways that win a lot of cubes.
No, this has major pressure and presence as a 3-drop.
Echo.
A+.
Echo is another one of those.
Yeah.
God. If they drop an Echo and you've got an Iron Mail, please remember that's there. Please remember that's there.
Yeah.
Please remember that's there.
That's so good. Well, and I think the cognitive load piece too, like I talk about having ADHD all the time. I legitimately don't think I'm capable of playing bounce move. I played it on stream the other day and I could not keep track of where things were or what it was going to look like when we actually got to that point, like at the end of a turn or end of a game. And I just made stupid plays over and over. And that's true. Like, yes, nostalgia for Doom. But that's also why I was so happy with Doom 2099, because it's like, okay, I can envision where this is going to go. If I use the shield from Captain America, I can make sure that I don't fill lanes up. Like I can imagine those cards. This one, I'm like, yep, this is going to do some good stuff too. Just plop it down, scare the crap out of them. Let's see what we can make happen. Like if they don't have cage, they're screwed. It's fun. I like this.
Yeah. Can I have another Doom 2099 thought before we go on, because it just occurred to me. Doom 2099 is a card that really benefits from you counting.
Yeah.
You should really be like, the second you play it and the first Doombot pops out, count. Like, because sometimes like you want Iron Man, sometimes you want a Blue Marvel, sometimes you want a Super, like, but they're wildly different power outputs depending on where things go, and you need to know what your opponents are doing and how much power you're doing if you're like going to compete with those decks at a high level. I won a lot of my Doom 2099 games because I was like, I think I'm supposed to play Ultron here, and then being like, yo, chat, can someone check my math, please? Because like I don't like, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the right math, but like there's a lot of counting with that card.
Yeah, and it rewards you for that, which is good.
Yep.
It's not even, I can count the fucking Doombots, right? It's that they don't actually trigger themselves, but then they trigger all the other Doombots, and then my brain like fritzes for a second until there's enough out there, and I'm just like, I
get it. I understand you.
Fair, thank you. All right, our last card of the week is probably going to be our like Deadpool's Diner or whatever game mode we have in February.
Yeah.
It is Batroc the Leaper. Batroc the Leaper. It is a we don't know if it's Series 5. I'm just assuming it's Series 5 until proven otherwise. It might be a Series 4 3000. When a card moves, follow it to gain 2 power once per turn.
It's cute.
Like,
I don't
right. It goes along with the shield.
It does.
It's
That's all I can picture. It's like riding.
It's great.
Like this guy riding the shield.
Around.
Yeah, so that's immediately in my head. Like he's doing that pose. He's got the leg up.
Oh, dude, that's so good.
Yeah.
Captain America's like, what the fuck? Why is this French guy keep jumping here?
But like, this is good, right? This is very often like a 1/8.
I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
I think if you're moving your opponent's stuff, not if you want to move your stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, interesting.
I think you clog yourself too quickly.
More scream. Booyah.
Well, because like, let's say you want to play this with werewolf, right? Like you move werewolf once, but now like that's 3 things in that one spot.
Yeah.
And like you're just clogging yourself, I think, too quickly that way. So you want to be like, this is a scream card, at least in my head. But like if I play Tidy, I don't really give a shit. And then I can play Polaris, and now it's jumping elsewhere. I'm not clogging myself.
Yeah.
I think that this totally probably has a place. I think it's, it's not my type of card probably, but I can see a world where this is so often a 1/6, you kind of just have to play it.
There's no chance it's not a 1/6, right? Like if you play this early enough, this is basic. Like it's once per turn. So if you play it late game, it's significantly worse.
Yeah.
But
it's
look, and sometimes the shit's gonna end up places you don't want it to, because they're gonna be like, I'll just move that Jeff. That's gonna be
right.
It's a skill cap play.
It is. You got to know that's going in. But yeah, I like it.
I mean, how long has Kraven been +2?
A while.
Yeah.
So I didn't know Kraven was +2, and I've lost a few games to that, because in my head, Kraven is still +1.
Yeah.
And
it's been long enough.
Yeah, this seems really, really good with +2 Kraven.
It does.
I'll look it up and see if I can find it.
The decks it goes into, it should just work.
Yeah.
To the point where we might be underrating it right now.
I mean, it's like at worst better Kingpin.
Yeah. It should always get more value than Kingpin. And people like Kingpin for some reason.
Kingpin's decent in those decks. Not like great, but decent. Like a Hydra
Glazer.
Right? Like,
yeah.
It changed on 6/20/2022 from +1 to +2.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
It's been literally for 2 years. I play a lot of Kraven, guys. All right. Yeah, no, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But like literally, Kraven started giving +2 in a game. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. Sorry, man.
No, but this is great with
His
Kraven,
power,
right?
his base power changed.
Oh, his base
a
power
little?
from 2/2 to 2/3, and that might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But do
you know the story of Batroc the Leaper?
Yeah.
Like, have you read any comics with him?
Yeah. I've read a million.
This seems
Batroc
so made up
Batroc's
to me.
Awesome.
This seems like nonsense.
He's phenomenal.
Okay.
Did you watch the movie of Kraven the Hunter?
No, I heard it was real bad.
No,
see, this just looks like a Ben Brode wrote this character, and that's him. He's got the facial hair. Like, this has been Brode.
Oh my gosh.
He made a character up for himself and put him into the game. That's all I can see here.
I'll do my research before it comes out.
Would you like to read this to the class, please? At least a little bit of it?
What did you send?
No, I didn't send anything. You got it. You just looked it up. Tell us a little bit about Batroc the Leaper.
No, I didn't. I looked up Kraven. I was literally looking at his facial hair to see if it was his mask or if it was his mustache or if it was like a wraparound thing.
He's just French. He's just very French. I have a sub emote. You're on my Twitch. I have your Prime. Use your sub emote. You have a Batroc the Leaper, French but nice sub emote.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes, you do.
Oh, you've been.
Oh no, I don't have Prime.
Oh,
I'm like one of the only people in America.
All right,
I feel like I'm a decent Marvel fan, and I'm even lost on Batroc.
He's a Captain America villain, but like he's like one of the ones Captain America just whoops the ass of all the time. He's like, how come Savat can't beat a super soldier? And Captain's like, dude, just shut up.
Oh, he's already been in the movie. Oh, he's the guy at the beginning of Winter Soldier. Okay, huh?
But he jumps so well. That's all I know about him. It's in his name.
He's the Leaper.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, he's such a great character. This is also
French form of kickboxing.
Today I learned.
Sorry, this is so off the rails, man.
All right, what is your card of the month?
Oh gosh.
For memes, this. For seriousness, it's the Hawk, right?
Yeah.
But I can also see a world where we're laughing at this being the best card. Just saying. But probably the Hawk, followed by the 3/3 negative girl.
Diamondback, yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
What you got, Newman?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys said other cards. I think in my heart, probably the Hawk will be the best, Redwing. But I am really excited about the wonkiness and kind of the fun of Sam Wilson, Captain America. It just seems like you can put it in. I don't know what it helps, what it's good at, but it seems really fun. Even if it just buffs Kraven by +2. I don't know. It seems weird.
If it buffs Kraven and Captain America both by 2, right?
Right.
Like you just played like a 2/7. That's awesome. You're not sad at a 2/7. Like, these are
No.
good things.
Yeah, everything
I think that'll be the
seems
most
solid.
fun. Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good month.
Yeah.
Nothing game breaking except for there's a slight chance to 3/3 that you pair. The Unreal 3/3 might be game breaking, maybe. But for the most part, everything seems really solid and playable,
Yeah, which
which
is great.
is all I want.
I don't think January is really good outside of Victoria End, so that's good. All right. We are on to one of our last segments of the show. It is Variant of the Week. I chose Super Skrull because Super Skrull's never going to be more meta than he is this week. So I'll go first. I have the one on the left. I have the Chibi Super Skrull. The reason I have that one is, well, it's got the most obvious Fantastic Four stuff on it, at least I think. You can see the rocks flying around it, you can see the fire, and you can see the Invisible Woman, and he's stretching, so you get all four of the Fantastic Four. I think we all chose the ones that have like the classic Fantastic Four stuff, which I really like, because the Super Skrull that this is supposed to be is the Super Skrull that is the Fantastic Four. And when they do like the other generic Super Skrulls in this spot, it kind of annoys me. This is Clerk, damn it. This isn't generic Super Skrull. So I like that it's Fantastic Four. The middle one, I believe, is W.
Yeah, that's me. I chose this one. Obviously, great art. I will say its downside is when it's split. It's pretty awkward looking. It's better just like this, but like pretty awesome art. Love the green. Love the classic. Does its job. I love Super Skrull. I'm a big fan of old Fantastic Four stuff. So
Me too.
yeah, this is great. I wish he had more variants. I didn't, when I was looking over my favorites, I kind of just chose this one by default. I feel like he could get better, I will say. But good stuff.
Newman.
Yeah, so I knew someone was going to pick the middle one. And I like that one a lot, but I was like, I got to go with something that means something to me. And so the Super Skrull on the right was on the road to getting the Sandman emote. He was a part of that album. Oh, nice. And I was like, it's the first actually like good Super Skrull variant that I had. And it also got me my Sandman emote, just a little salt, little sand bay. So I don't have a good reason. It's just because I got Sandman because of it. So there you go.
Well, Sandman and Super Skrull used to do, I guess they never really did anything together. You can only have to play one card a turn so much.
Right.
Like Super Skrull meant you really could only play one card a turn.
You could really only do one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like this card. This is a really well-designed card, too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep. I don't like it right now because I won't run it in my decks. Like, I just want to play what I want to play, and I'm not going to throw this in there. But next week, I'll like him again. It'll be okay.
Fair. All right. It is shout-out time. So, W, why should people follow you?
I'm trying to post more. I've been kind of on a hiatus a bit. I'm still playing a lot, but I haven't been as creative in my stuff. But you should follow me. I'm downselling myself right now. You should follow me because when I am creative and going, I post some pretty cool lists every once in a while. So come over to my Twitter. I love to talk the game. You'll see me in Discords every once in a while. You'll see me in the Twitch chats every once in a while. I will always be playing Marvel Snap, so I'm always interested in what's going on. So if you've liked what you've heard today, come hang out.
You should 1,000% follow W. Like, there's, I don't know, 3 or 4 deck builders that are like just ridiculously impactful in the history of the game, and W is at the top of the list. Whenever he releases a list, unless like sometimes I get a message, they're like, I'm on it first. Like Prashaun did that to me for like one of your recent lists. He was like, I'm on it. And I was like, fine, Prashaun, I'll feature it a day later. But it's like an immediate feature because it's just so likely to break the meta. It's so likely to do something unique and interesting. If you watched earlier this week, I featured his Doom 2099 list, which was like a Professor X deck, and it was just ridiculously cool. Like no one else has a list that's remotely like that. There's 1,000 decks for this card, and just there's always something unique and interesting to W lists. I don't like mid-range as a rule, but I play W's mid-range decks at a really high win rate because like they do different things. They're interesting. And I think Marvel Snap as a game is at its best when you're like sort of playing around on the edges and figuring out the cool thing to do and the really interesting thing. And you're not going to get anyone better at that than W. Plus, like, I know a lot of my community, I know a lot of people don't otherwise, but a lot of my community really cares about the history of this game. And I know it's a relatively young game, but like my community in particular very much is into the history, and like a serious part of the history of the game is W.
Oh, well, you just sold me so much better than I did. I appreciate those words. You're always too kind to me. I think it's my third time on the show, and
Third time?
y'all are way too nice to me every time. I appreciate it.
You deserve it. Mr. Newman, why should we follow you?
I mean, so my main thing is I'm a pretty normal dude that plays this for fun. I started doing content after my mom passed away, as a way of kind of passing on stories and stuff for my kids. Just nonsense, just dumb things like that I'd love to hear from my mom now. And so for me, I never really thought I'd get very good at this game because I'm not a card game guy, but I enjoy myself a lot. And so on Saturdays, I'm the stream team guy. I'll play whatever decks, came out during the week, that I think are the best ones that have the best win rate, whatever it is. But I really just like kind of messing around and having fun. And I keep it positive. I post on YouTube sometimes, and hopefully with the new year coming, things will get a little easier. But yeah, that's really it. I think I'm friendly, and if you want to hang out bright and early, I'm your guy, especially next week and the week after, because it's Christmas vacation and I don't have to teach. So, booyah.
So, A, we love teachers. We must support teachers. B, y'all know the biggest Marvel Snap YouTuber. You've heard of him probably. It's Regis Kilbin. You know that guy? Everyone watches him, right? Like, I know you, dear listener, probably watch Regis Kilbin. The numbers suggest that everyone on Earth watches him, including everyone who's ever watched me. So if you like Regis, you should 100% follow Newman. He's like, Regis if Regis didn't bother editing his videos.
That's true. That's very true.
It is just, talking and laughing and spending time with a really kind person who's having a really good time playing Marvel Snap. The streams have the exact same vibe. It's like his YouTube videos are what I would used to watch when I wouldn't have time to watch streams, right? Like Marvel Snap has become a ridiculously big part of my life, and now I make time for more stuff like that, right? But like at first, I didn't have time for streams, so I would like watch all the Newman videos, and like I'd play everything in my life at 1.5 speed. Like all of my YouTube and podcasts are at 1.5 speed. So like I'd be like, I don't have time for this, but I can definitely watch a Newman video and get the feel of a stream. You feel like you're at home. You feel like you're part of a community. It's genuinely wonderful. And again, like you like Regis Kilbin because like everyone does, right? And you watch my content, so you don't care about the technical aspects. We're literally looking at a slideshow right now. So like, if you slam those two things together, you've got Newman. So please follow him.
Booyah. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, we are now on to the Patreon. I'm going to read a whole bunch of Patreon names as fast as I possibly can because that's how we do it on the podcast. Thanks to the $10 and up Patrons. Thank you to Abigail Eastland, Manager Burnett, Irregardless, Steve G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Downtown, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I Am Frostman, Jane Everything, Poker, Prime Brian, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Curtis Lee, Corey Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyro Frost, The Goat Seeker, Hollowed, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Beza, Black Jeebus 23, Extra Steve, and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Timon Nyquist, King of Rose, Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kevsey Hoda, Lunacris, Corman, John Q, Jimmy, Mick Q, Lamb, Colonel Forbin, Yistout, 8th Sage, Models, Mod Supreme, The Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan 56, Steven, Brian Coffin, Tristan A. Smart, Jason B, Jaden McDonald, The Fuzzy Knowledge Specialist, Hoot, Matt H, TJ, Mike Jinx, No Flex Cyclers, Mr. Christery, BG, Zojax, The King of Canada, Deadman Falcon, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Great Learners, The Pirate King Tuccrr, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. I think we just wrapped up an episode, friends.
Woo woo. Nice.
Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Absolute pleasure. Stay safe, be good, keep on snapping, and peace and love.